Well, back to General Campbell, Chief of the Defence Force with the Distinguished Service Cross for his command and leadership of the troops, but then exonerated because he was too remote to command and lead the troops. Work that out. Presumably he keeps his medal. Just let me make a preliminary point, which has been repeated by many of my viewers. Have you heard any politician say anything good about our SAS soldiers? Think of this. If we focused on all the mistakes of our leaders, and Jennifer from Bull Creek, thank you, Jennifer, in WA, for making this point, politicians and corporates alike, how many would still remain standing? How many of us, asks Jennifer, judge from the comfort of our living room? As Jennifer and others have hinted, our men were sent there to fight a war in a foreign country. Now we're apologising to the country and offering compensation to those who fought against our troops, to those who looked to kill our men, while those who serve return home to nothing, and those who sacrificed leave behind families who also get nothing. But back to General Campbell and the Distinguished Service Cross. The same General Campbell, on Thursday, November 19, that's last week, as Chief of the Australian Defence Force, publicly stated he would be writing to the Governor-General of Australia, General David Hurley, also a former senior officer of the Australian Army. Campbell said he'd be writing to the Governor-General requesting that the Meritorious Unit Citation awarded to the Australian Special Operations Task Groups, the best of the best, deployed to Afghanistan during the period April 30, 2007 to December 31, 2013, a long period, nearly 7 years. All these men, thousands of them, the Chief of the Australian Defence Force, General Campbell, wants their Meritorious Unit Citation to be revoked. You heard me? Revoked. And this request comes before any criminal charges are laid or any offences have been tried before a court of law. But Campbell seeks to penalise and reprimand all Special Forces veterans and their families, all of them, for alleged crimes committed by 19 Special Forces personnel now under formal investigation. This is beyond belief. Some of these, in receipt of the citation, are dead. They gave their lives. Others have been brilliant, committed, strategic and tactical in the field. Men of action and achievement. General Campbell can't claim to any of that. But he hangs on to his Distinguished Service Cross. He's effectively exonerated by Brereton, even though he's the commander of the Middle East operations, and now he wants to stand justice on its head. Guilt before proof, and deny all worthy men the MUC, Meritorious Unit Citation. Well, the remarkable young man to whom we have spoken on this program before, only as recently as last week, Heston Russell, has entered combat away from the fields of Afghanistan, where the 34-year-old was platoon commander of the 2nd Commando Regiment. He completed 4 deployments to Afghanistan. In the past 5 years, he's lost more friends to suicide than during his 4 deployments to Afghanistan. More than 10 soldiers from his unit have killed themselves. More than 400 veterans have taken their lives since 2001. But Heston is now as guilty too of unproven offences as everyone else, because no one's named. But the Chief of the Australian Defence Force, General Campbell, wants their Meritorious Unit Citation revoked. Well, Heston's compiled a petition. He wants you to sign it online so that it can be collated and sent to the Governor-General, if need be, to Her Majesty the Queen. Heston is speaking for the veterans community and basically urging the Governor-General to leave the Meritorious Unit Citation Awards in place. Veterans and members of the public can sign the petition. Go to voiceofaveteran.org. Just one word, by the way, voice of a veteran, put it all together. Voiceofaveteran.org. So in very unhappy circumstances, Heston Russell joins me again tonight. Heston, thank you for your time. Where is this going to end?
Good evening, Alan. That's a very good question. We don't know where it's going to end, but we're trying to support those veterans and those families who haven't even been contacted by the Department of Defence to help preserve the memory of those meritorious men that are yet to be proven guilty in any actions other than falling in combat overseas.
Absolutely. The Prime Minister has called the content of this report brutal truths. So, Heston, that means you're all guilty. That includes you.
Alan, potentially that is. The only brutal truth is that what is occurring is a failure in strategic leadership to protect those who once protected all Australians, and it's being played out in the public forum without any actual crimes being proven.
The Prime Minister's apologised to the President of Afghanistan. Nothing proven. How do your vets, the term you speak, how do they feel about this?
There are so many other apologies that the Prime Minister needs to apply, like how our partner force were killed when we withdrew the Australian forces from Tarancount, or how all the other operations that we have conducted since then have not been brought forward in a positive light, and how our veterans are being hung out to dry at the lowest level, those patrol commanders and soldiers who conducted the most dangerous actions of all.
Absolutely. Now, look, I don't want this to be a factor in tonight's discussion because most of my viewers are most probably as ignorant as I am. I asked you off air the other night when we were talking about all of this what your salary was when you served in Afghanistan. And I think I can say that for putting your life on the line every minute of the day, you said, oh, well, about $160,000. And given that you'd been in the service for, I think, about 15 to 17 years, I asked the dumb question, what pension do you get now? Because politicians leave Parliament after doing nothing with a pension for life. So I'm going to ask you here, dumb question so that my viewers can hear the answer. You've been there, you served for 17 years, you left the service. What pension do you now get?
Nothing, Alan.
I'll ask you again, what pension do you and your fellow vets get?
Nothing unless I prove myself incapacitated physically or mentally.
Not a cent. All you get's anonymity and abandonment. Has anyone spoken to you about this report?
Like the families of all the fallen, no.
You're mobilising veterans. I know you've spoken to a stack of them today. Have any of them heard from Defence or any of these people?
No.
What about parents who've lost their sons in combat? This opens up the wounds again. Has anyone spoken to them?
No.
And now, before any charges are laid, any soldiers named, any court convened, General Campbell, the boss, says Afghan families will be compensated, and he's apologised for shameful findings. How does it feel to be guilty?
Oh, I just don't know anymore, Alan. It's a very despairing situation for all the veteran community.
So you're writing this petition to the Governor-General to make sure that the Meritorious Unit Citations are not revoked. That's your point, isn't it?
Yes, Alan. voiceofaveteran.org. We ask all Australians, veterans and alike, veterans and general public alike, to please join in and help us to actually represent those who cannot represent those who are stricken to silence or are no longer with us.
Okay, give us again. So if we need it to the viewers, to friends, everyone out there, the petition, yes. It's online. Just go to voiceofaveteran.org, right?
That's it, voiceofaveteran.org, Alan.
And the Voice of a Veteran is all one word. We want you all to sign up, voiceofaveteran.org. Sign up before more damage is done to the attitudinal and psychological strength of those charged with defending our country and securing our peace. And if politicians and General Campbell and his ilk don't appreciate our troops, we can show we do. voiceofaveteran.org. Heston, thank you for your time. Lovely to talk. We'll keep in touch. And what do my viewers think? Email me at alan@skynews, I know what you think.com.au, or the text line 0414 000 848.